Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Ninja Selling Podcast. Garrett and Matt. He's Garrett. I'm Matt. We're here with you, and we have a speedy topic for you. Not that this is fast, but it is one specific thing, one specific part of the Ninja system that we talk about a lot in coaching. It is an element of the Ninja 9, and it is one of the most often confused parts of Ninja, I would say, because there is gray area that exists in this element. So excited to talk to you about that today. Garrett has a wonderful analogy for you on that. But before we dive in, two things, and you know them. The first is check out our Facebook community, search the Ninja Selling Podcast, join it there. We're approaching 11,000 members right now, and I'm seeing people make posts and comments in there with under 10 minutes. It's amazing. And if you have any value to share and you offer it, just be forewarned that you're probably going to have about 100 people plus asking you to send that to them as well. So you might as well just post it up in the group. The second thing, if you want to learn more about Ninja, if you're like, hey, this is my first exposure to Ninja, I'd love to learn more about what these systems are and how they can impact my business in an amazing way, check out the book, Ninja Selling by Larry Kendall, and head over to ninjaselling.com. There you can find out about 4-day training events, which we call the Ninja Installation. You can find out about one-on-one personal coaching, which is Ninja Coaching. You can reach out to Garrett or myself about that too. And all that stuff can be found there. So that's the intro. As you all know,
My gosh, that was a lot.
it was like a minute. It's not that bad.
If I was falling asleep, they're falling asleep. I guarantee it.
Garrett would probably have his typical like, oh, I know that Matt's going to, jabber for about a minute or two. Just double tap the forward 30-second button on your podcast app there. And you're like, all right, into the meat. So here we are, Garrett. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. No, I'm excited that, again, Matt, always excited to spend time with you. And thank you all, everybody, for spending time with us as we get off into our mornings, afternoons, wherever you're at, time of the day. The topic for me came up actually out of a coaching call that I was having yesterday. And it goes into, I think, an understanding that I'm hoping, Matt, we can have a pretty good discussion around here for a little bit, which is, I watch agents that are always trying to cast a wide net into the industry. They want to throw this huge net out. I want to make sure I'm covering this. I want to make sure I'm covering that. I want to make sure that we got opportunities coming in from over here. And very rarely do we see somebody that says, okay, I truly understand a system and I'm not going to worry about all the stuff I could be doing. And I'm going to pick a couple systems that I'm like, I'm going to own these. I'm going to do it on a really high level. And there's one system in particular that we've talked about through the podcast before, but it's the warm list. And it's focusing on people that are having life changes around you. And it's a very fundamental core system that we use in Ninja that I find a lot of people kind of overlook it, Matt. They kind of look at it as it's like I do all this, I write notes, I do go lunches, I do all this stuff over here. And then I'm like, what's your warm list look like? And it's always this it could be better. It could be improved upon. The reason that this came up as an episode for today is that I got frustrated yesterday. And Ian Schwartz, I love you. He's in Chicago. Guys, if anybody needs a great agent in Chicago, Ian Schwartz is amazing. But Ian caused this episode to happen. I'm just going to put it out there. He was a piece of a couple coaching clients that I was like, you guys have got to figure this out going into this new year right now. This marketplace that I'm watching is very, very, very driven off life changes. It's not people just coming out of the woodwork, just being like, wouldn't it be fun to buy a house? They are driven by very specific items that are making them say, all right, we are going to go through this process right now. We need to go through this process to make our lives work. So, Matt, you mind if I jump into this analogy and then we'll take off down our road here?
Yeah, no, please do share this. I just want to highlight that you mentioned this market, you're seeing life changes. I mean, every market is like that. And we mentioned this on the last episode where if these predictions of less than 5 million homes are going to be sold nationwide, which is going to be heavily dependent locally, because I think pocket markets are definitely back. Every state's going to operate differently. But if you are focused on these life changes, it does not matter what the rest of the market does. And this is kind of like a awesome piece that fits right into what we talked about last time. And This is how you focus on your business versus focusing on the market and what's going to help you outperform every single year, whatever's going on in the marketplace. So I love this analogy, Garrett.
Well, and here's another, like, again, I'm going to talk in analogies all day long, but like if I look at like my son and he's playing video games, like in video games, there's cheat codes. There's like a code that when somebody has it, the others go, well, that's not fair. Like if I could do that, like, of course I'd win the game. I want you to think of your warm list like a cheat code, which is not the analogy I was going to go down here. I'm going to go to the one I was thinking about for a second.
Well, it connects with what the analogy you're going to do, though, because it is a cheat code.
It is. If you understand this, it is a cheat code. So we're going to talk about fishing for a second. And I hope we have a whole lot of fishers listening to the episode right now, because it'll make a lot of sense. And if you don't fish, at the end of this, you might want to go fishing. So when you go fishing, and we're going to use a stream or a small river as an example, you go to the river and you're standing on the side of it. I can give you a fishing rod as a totally novice fisherman. You have no knowledge of what this is. I'm going to say, okay, here's your rod, here's a hook, here's some bait. I want you to go catch a fish. And you're like, all right, seems easy. Water, bait, there's fish in there somewhere. Let's do this thing. And you're going to start downriver and you start working your way upriver. And you're fishing and you're fishing and you're fishing. And you're like, Garrett, I'm not catching anything. I'm like, it's okay. Water, fish, bait, rod, you're good. Just keep going. And so you work your way all the way up and you work your way all the way back down. And you're like, Garrett, I'm not catching any fish. Well, you're fishing this entire river. And yes, there are fish in the river. We totally understand that. Now, give you a little advice about fishing. There's spots in the river where the fish like to hang out. It's an incredible thing. They don't hang out everywhere. There's parts of that river that see very, very, very little fish. And then there's parts where these fish just congregate and they all hang out. They have little parties behind little areas. So like there's big rocks in the water. There's logs in the water. There are spots where the water has to go off of a waterfall and the water pools and eddies in different ways around there. And you can watch the water and you can see bubbles of current coming up from things that's hitting down below the water. And if you understand the river, if you understand how these eddies work, the rocks work, you know that the fish like to hang out in the slower water right around these things. You know that the fish sit there and they conserve their energy and they all kind of hang out, and all of a sudden a piece of food will swing by and they'll watch it in the fast water and the fish will swim out, eat the piece of food and come back into the slower water and kind of hang out behind this rock. If you look at your database is it's a stream. You got a whole bunch of people flowing around in there. You got a lot of stuff going on. And yeah, we do want to do all these systems, our notes, our lunches, our phone calls, our connections, asking forward conversations with all these people that are in this stream that you have. But in the stream, there are things like rocks and waterfalls and logs. And we're going to refer to these as these life changes. We've got people having kids. We've got people having kids going away off to college. We've got people losing jobs, getting jobs, kids under the age of 10 years old, teenage children, dreams to live somewhere amazing in their future, retirement, inheritance is happening. When you see these things come up, you need to sit there as the professional fisherman and go, I'm going to spend a little bit of time fishing around that rock. And when we talk about fishing, you're not sitting there hunting for the meal, but you're going like, if I'm going to spend time and have the best luck of maybe catching something, this is where I'm going to hang out a little bit. I'm going to spend a little bit more time, ask a little bit more questions, get to know them a little bit better, build that relationship a little bit better. And then you know what? I'm going to give some time to that. And then there's a log just up the river up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fish the log. I'm going to fish the boil over here. I'm going to fish the rock downstream. There's another rock farther down. I'm going to go down and fish that one. We don't need to fish the entire stream. And what you find is the people that fish around these specific areas, a lot of them in a marketplace like we're going into, they're like, man, that person, they just keep helping people with real estate. They keep finding people that need help. How are they doing it? Sales are supposed to be down. Real estate's supposed to be harder right now. They're fishing in the best spots. That's why the best fishermen, if you've ever gone fishing with somebody who truly understands how a river works, it is so annoying because you're sitting there and you think you're fishing in the right spot. And they're standing one down from you and they're like, got one. And you're like, really? Oh man, you always catch a fish. You're always lucky. And then they move upriver a little bit and they're like, boom, got another one. And you're like, you're not fun to go fishing with. This is annoying. Be the annoying person in your business that is finding the business out there where others are fishing the entire stream. That is my analogy. That is what I wanted to talk about today, Matt. And I think I've already covered a whole piece of it, but I want to have this conversation with you because I'm not watching people fish the most likely spots in their database, in their world, and they're just walking past these things all day long.
I love the analogy. It makes a lot of sense. And this is very common in real estate, right? I mean, I see it all over the different forums, the different groups out there exist. Happens with a ninja. Hey, where's this piece of business going to come from? Where's my business going to come from? Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. And we're running up and down this stream, just putting things. And every now and then you get lucky and you do put your rod in at one of those rocks or the log where people are hanging out, but you're not consciously making that decision, which then puts you as a victim to your own kind of scatteredness that exists there. And one of the overlooked parts of the Ninja 9, success habit number 4 or 5, I always mix them up. Which one's hot, which one's warm? But focus on your warm list daily. Fish in that spot daily. And fishing is a whole variety of actions, right? One is focusing on the people, bringing them to your attention, tuning your own personal reticular activating system to look for things that are important to those people. The second is forward questions, having conversations with these people, building a relationship. And this is where you do see, you go fishing with that guy, Garrett. I picture 2 real estate agents who are connected to somebody, right? And maybe one knows this person well. They've been in their sphere for a long period of time, but then all of a sudden this pro fisherman comes in and they're the one that gets the listing. And we're like, why? Why is that? Like, they should have come to me. It's like, well, they've been talking to that person at a high frequency for the past 3 months because they saw the life change that was coming. You spoke to them 2-3 months ago. They've been talking to them every week for the past 2 months. So they got the fish, they got the deal, they got the listing because they built that relationship. And at that moment, when that person was ready to make a decision on, hey, it's time for us to sell the house, it's time for me to buy a house, that's the person they go with. And that is how relationships work. That's how this business works.
And it's interesting when you're looking for results for yourself, all things have lead indicators that you can start to notice and go, ooh, I saw this little thing happen and that caused this next thing to happen. Well, that makes total sense. And when you figure it out in the worm list, it's like when you figure out in the river, you're like, well, that makes sense why fish hang out there. Of course, we should fish there more often. When you look at your business and you go, well, of course, that's where business happens. Of course, I should hang out there more often. And it's no different than the person that says, I always get the parking spot in the front of the store, closest to the actual entrance to the store. And you go like, man, they're really lucky. They always get that spot. Well, no, they look for the lead indicators. They look for the people walking out and who is at what point are going for their keys. Do they wait till they're walking way down the aisle and then they're like, oh, I'm going to reach in my pocket and grab my keys? Or are they coming out of the store automatically grabbing keys in hand? That person's probably closer than the one that's not going for their keys yet. You start to look for exhaust pipes. Start to listen for cars that are running. You start looking for all these little things that you're like, oh, there's steam coming out of that exhaust pipe, that second car in that line. I'm just going to sit here and slow down for a second. And that car's probably going, oh, yep, there it goes. Yep, it's backing out. I'm always so lucky. I always get the spot up front. It's not magic. They see the things that they need to be looking for to get the results that they want to get. Fishermen have taken the time to learn those clues about what it means to be successful fishing. You have an opportunity in your business right now to learn the clues that cause the business to happen. And when you figure out those clues, spend more time there. Go out for lunches, write handwritten notes. Matt, as you said, bring them just to your conscious mind and focus on these people and go, okay, I'm just going to sit down and think about Matt Benelli right now. Why am I thinking about Matt Benelli? Why am I putting my energy around this? Well, Matt has a growing family. He's got 2 girls, very new one into his life. So I know that we've got these changes that are going on. Hey, Matt, what are you doing right now?
Selling a house and buying a house.
Okay, perfect. So these are the things that just start to kind of come around this. And you're like, is it a coincidence that Matt has she's 1 right now, or how old is she?
Yes, 14 months now.
14 months. That is not a coincidence. I'm just telling people. And this is where we talk about a ninja, high dollar per hour so we can have a life. Focusing ourselves in areas that are going to produce the biggest and best results so that we can have freedom and time to go walk away and do the things that we love and be with the people that we love. And the ones that are fishing the entire river and just struggling and struggling and struggling, it's hard to go have a life. It's hard to go do all the things you want to do. It's hard to have the high income per hour when you're spreading yourself all over this entire stream. It's an incredible opportunity. I look at this marketplace right now, again, Matt, when stress levels are high, people go to the people that are paying attention to them and the ones that are taking care of them. They don't go to strangers. They don't go run around the countryside going, who can help me? They go right into their resources going, it's a little bit weird. I don't trust it out there. Who do I bring in? Matt, here, maybe you can help us.
And if they don't have that person, they do go run across the mountainside. And this is where you have the opportunity to work smarter, right? I mean, I've said this many times over the years. And that's when there is a online lead that happens, it happens because there is a relationship that was either lost or never established with a professional realtor before that person went and clicked. And when I say lost, it can happen really quickly. And so don't feel bad if you're like, oh man, yeah, I know I had that happen to me. It's like, yeah, it can take just a matter of lack of communication for a couple of months, a lack of value for a couple of months that has somebody going and searching somewhere else for support. And so the warm list is where you get to go get ahead of leads, right? This is where you get to build relationships with people before they become a lead for someone else. And so the reason why I say this is working smarter is because, one, you save money because you don't have to go and pay for these lead services. Two, you get to add value to them and their world and their situation before it comes time for them to transact real estate, which then makes it easier for them and for you to go through this process together because there's a trust that's established. And as Larry says, right, in Ninja, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. Everybody knows that. Plus who they are in flow with. That fourth piece is very, very important. And this is why product advertising works. Product advertising is a form of flow. And when you're impulse buying a fire pit for your backyard, a new grill, iPhones, this, that, and the other thing, right? Well, iPhones have a whole nother thing.
Well, they fail all the time. So yeah.
Product placement and product advertising is their form of flow. Then there's the lead gen side on the back of that, Google search and all that stuff. For your real estate business, like, that doesn't happen. And so the flow needs to come from your personal interaction and your auto flow. And that's what helps you prevent people from becoming a lead. And that's why the warm list is so powerful. Does that make sense? I feel like I talked that in a circle.
Totally makes sense. So I have a question for you then, and it's not, there's no right or wrong answer to this question. So don't worry, Matt, you can't get it wrong. It's your personal opinion on this is what I'm curious about. Because I think a lot of people have some broken ideas around the idea of flow. And how long do you think, on average, it takes to fall out of flow?
Oh, I would say it could be as little as 30 days.
Yeah, I was going to say 30 days is a total reasonable time frame that you can think you're in flow with somebody, because I talked to them here a while back. We had a great conversation. We went out to lunch or whatnot. And 30 days, you could be falling out of flow. If I was to put like a stamp on it, that's like, you are out of flow, 3 months. If you have anybody on your database you haven't talked to in 3 months, you are completely out of control with them. The chances of you running a referral relationship business with them, they might come and use you personally, but truly unlocking the referral side around of it, there's no way to have a referral-based business for the most part. I know there's people out there going like, I think you're wrong. It's okay. Call me.
It depends on what's going on behind the scenes too, because flow in general incorporates all of your marketing, your auto flow, and your live flow. But if you do nothing for 3 months, zero, this is what is guaranteed. You've totally opened the door for somebody else. And that door is open far enough where it could be a postcard. It could be one of those, somebody sends a just sold postcard to a neighborhood that your person lives in, and it's been 3+ months since you've contacted them. And they're like, we're thinking of selling. Hey, Garrett just sold this amazing property down the road. Let's give him a call. Like, it looks like he does really good work. Look at the photo quality of this. Look at the price that he got. Let's call Garrett. Like, that's what can happen when you exit that 3 months. I'd say the 30 days certainly can start to set the departure for referrals. If nothing is done, 3 months, doors wide open. You've left the house unlocked.
You've opened the door to Steve Langdon, and Steve Langdon is my fishing buddy that I fished with over the years that makes you just go like, dude, this was my stream. Like, go fish somewhere else. And he's just like, got one. Like, killing me.
I think when you ask that question of the time frame, Garrett, and we've talked about this with database size, because people go, oh no, now I have to talk to all these people so frequently, but they don't, right? Like I don't have to have a fishing rod everywhere on the stream, just where I am.
You're focusing on the most likely spots. Now, again, we're not neglecting everybody else. That's the thing also, is like, this isn't like I'm just going to where the business is right now, because everybody that you have in your stream, they do have people they know that need help and relationships that they have built over their lifetime that they could very easily say, hey, I want to introduce you to my friend Matt. He can help you with your real estate. There's all this stuff around here. When we're talking about like these rocks and the boulders and things like that, these are just the high likely people that we are, again, focusing our time and energy into, dumping, and I usually say dump like our heart into these people. They need reduction of pain in their life. They need an increase in pleasure in their life when it comes to things that are really holding them back or they're stuck in right now. Somebody who's lost a job. You're not sitting there going like, I know they're not going to be able to afford that house sometime here soon if he can't find a job. Like, they're going to have to sell that thing. No, your opportunity there is to lean in and say, like, how are you doing with the job hunt right now? If you see opportunities with other people you're talking to make a connection and be like, hey, Matt, I was just talking with so-and-so over here. They actually have openings at their company. I'd love to make the connection for you guys. If you're looking for something right now, I can see if I can help you out with that. You are trying to alleviate that pain, increase that pleasure in their life, which, again, they might need to move. And if they might need to move, the chances of them saying, hey, we do need your help right now, we're not going to be able to keep this house. On the side of the referrals is that it's not just them sitting behind that rock in that river also. They've got a whole pool of people that they're sitting there with. And that's where the craziness of the business can happen, where they might see that piece of food go by, and instead of them swimming out to go get it, they're like, hey, John, look at that. Go over there. Like, there you go. And all of a sudden they're on the end of Matt's rod. You're like, there you go. I was talking with the other person behind the rock, but he sent his friend over because his friend needed help with real estate right now. Like, this is the beauty of these areas, and they're neglected. We watch it happen all the time, Matt. We're always like, guys, come back, focus on the worm list. And I've told people for the past year, there's a change in the marketplace coming. I don't know what it looks like right now, but this is your time to start building your warm list. This is the time to start really understanding how this works in your database. In the crazy hot markets that we've been in the last 2 years, super easy to neglect because we're like, well, why do I need to be spending time there? Buyers are coming out of everywhere. If I got a seller, it's a gold rush. Like, let's go. It's funny because like now I'm going like, this is what I was telling you about. And you now are in the opportunity of saying, I need to make sure this thing is working. Otherwise, there's a chance you might be finding yourself in a new career here down the road. All are viable options. I think you can figure out how to make this one work. This is a really rewarding marketplace if you figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, this is what one of the biggest keys behind Ninja is, and it's the power of this warm list. It's an incredible list. That's why it's one of the Ninja 9 success habits, and it's a daily habit. Focus on your warm list daily. And it takes a few minutes to do. And then you can design all of your flow and all the other elements that go into the Ninja 9, your 50 live contacts, your 2 notes a day, your real estate reviews. All can be structured around your warm list. Then when that's exhausted, you move into your A's and your B's and you're good to go. And like now you're really fishing in your database with precision and consistency. And so I love this. This is a topic we can't talk about enough, and I'm sure it's going to come around for us again. And so you'll be hearing about it again. But, maybe this is the analogy that spoke to you to get you to really think about your warm list today, because it's going to have an amazing impact on your business this year.
So everybody, I appreciate you tuning in. If you want to know more about what's going on in Ninja Selling, go to ninjaselling.com. If you want to know more about what we're doing in coaching, most of the topics that we talk about that come up come directly out of the coaching relationships that we have. We coach a tremendous amount of people around the United States. And as we are having these incredible conversations with people and we're looking at their businesses and we're realizing where things are being left on the table, where opportunities are being missed, where things need to be picked up and the ball needs to be run with, that's what causes a lot of these topics that we talk about for the podcast here. So Ian, you know what you need to be doing, buddy? At the same time, I do want to back that up with Ian is an absolutely amazing realtor in the Chicago area. So just because I am pushing him to get that system going, that dude has got it firing on all cylinders up there. In the meantime, again, we appreciate all of you for tuning in. Check us out if there's anything we can help you around the Ninja systems. And Matt, we will be back again with more topics, more information. I've got some great interviews coming up that I'm very excited about, and we're going to run with those here as we keep moving. And just want to say thank you. Thank you, Matt. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, everyone. And we'll catch you on the next one.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like more, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com.
There you will also find links for more information about ninja selling and coaching. Have an incredible day.